Morning, Friday the 3rd of April. I want to talk welders this morning. As I've said before, a lot of the work now is waiting for welding before I can, paint and seal areas and stuff like that. And with the lockdown on, getting a welder out is obviously not going to happen. I'm toying with buying one for myself because, owning a classic car, I think you're going to need one eventually. But I want to buy the right one, but I don't want to go stupid money. Friends of mine from my Volkswagen days who've restored their vans have told me you buy the gas ones and you'll get through so many little cartridges of gas, so you need to buy a regulator and then get some a bigger bottle of gas, if you like, from Motor Factors or whatever, and you have to rent the bottle, etc, etc, and the price is just going to mount up. You're probably talking 300 or 400 quid before you even started. Then you get the gasless MIG welders, which a lot of people have said, oh, don't touch them, they're rubbish. I guess they could be right, they know what they're on about, but why do they sell them if they're rubbish? They must have a function. So it's something to think about. Now, yesterday I put a post on a Facebook group that I'm on for our housing estate where I live, and just as a matter of fact said, anybody on here got a MIG welder that they either want to sell, loan or borrow me? And the guys replied, I've got one, only used it once, it's 130 amps or whatever it is, and it's gasless. Now, I don't know if it's going to be any good, but obviously it's a free way of working out whether gasless is the way forward for me. So I'm going to borrow it off him and give it a try in either an inconspicuous area or on some practice steel and see what it's like, remembering really that a lot of the welding on the car that needs doing isn't structural and is only really putting patches on already bad areas. So you look at the front wings at the bottom, for argument's sake, in the valance and stuff like that. Nobody's ever going to see it. It's not going to make a great deal of difference, but it's better than filler. Now, I can't see a problem with bad welding in those areas, if you like. So I think it's worth a try. At least then it'll discount the fact of buying a gasless welder for myself. So that's where we are with welders this morning. I'm going to go and pick that up from him later. But given the fact that the car's now up on axle stands and it's not going to move from the garage, I think I'm going to change tact of what I thought I'd do today, which was put a rust killer on all the areas and stuff like that. I think I'm going to actually take the petrol tank out today completely and cut out the bad areas in the boot and prepare for welding that whatever, because even if I get somebody out, I still need to make the job as easy as possible. So that should be today's job at the minute, until, like I normally do, change my mind halfway through. See you later. Here's the welder I borrowed off a guy up the road. I'll have to download the book off the internet and see exactly the settings and stuff, but I think it's fairly simple. Never heard of the make. We'll give it a go. Right, so to get the tank off, it's held on by 5 bolts, 2 at the back, 1 each side, I don't know if you can see that down there, and then 1 at the front of the car. I also need to disconnect the sender unit and the petrol pipe. I've got no idea how much fuel's in the car, so the best plan is going to be lower it down with a jack and quickly pull the pipe off and play catch the fuel in something. That should be amusing. First job is to obviously take off that cap that I put on the other day, or else the tank won't actually come out of the hole. I'm not sure how much of this you'll actually be able to see. I'm more interested in stopping petrol going everywhere than filming it. I've got the clamp disconnected from the tank to the engine. There's a piece of rubber pipe that joins the solid pipe from the tank to the solid pipe in the car. I've got that clamped and loose, so in theory the only petrol that should come out will be a dribble from the petrol lines attached to the car, and maybe a bit if this mole grip isn't tight enough. Right, we're going to attempt to decant the petrol from the tank into these metal cans. Now the fun will start. Funnel, get it? Right, so that's all done. They're probably about 3/4 full in each can. 20 litre cans, so there's at least 30 litres there. Problem is, I don't know if you could see on the time lapse, by the time we got down to the bottom it was looking like rusty rainwater. So although the tanks are fairly new, I was told by the owner before the last one that he had a new tank on it. It just goes to show that sitting around they soon condense and get water in them. So that petrol won't be going back in. I've got a mate at work who's got a petrol mower. He might want it for that. We'll see. So with the tank out now, we can see the extent of the welding. Driver's side corner. Going along the seam there. And then to the other side, just above the exhaust hanger, if we can see that. But the actual floor itself is remarkable. It's obviously due to the fact that they do rain in at the back and collect water that causes that problem. Everything else under here is remarkably solid. Of course, there is one downside to working from home. You can't have your parcels delivered at work, so the missus knows you've been buying stuff. Ooh, if you're wondering what it was, it's a rear silencer, albeit this is off a estate, so I've got to trim the tailpipe, and it's some stone chip paint and a fat old Labrador. So it's got to come off anyway to weld by the boot up there. I'm just going to try and take this tailpipe off and then have a look at where I'd need to cut it and splice it. I think I need a 13mm spanner. I'll go for that. So there we go. Your challenge today, should you accept it, is to try and make all these pieces here fit under the car and join up to an already non-standard centre box. So the one constant point, if you like, what we've got is the exhaust hanger. So I've just clipped that on roughly, and then we'll have a quick look at where we think we can cut the exhaust. If we look, the curve is pretty much in the same place. So I think we're going to cut it somewhere just above the axle, for want of a better word, and then somehow join it there. So I've just got that cable tied up just to give me a rough idea of the bend. See that the bend's in exactly the same position there. So I'm going to cut that piece somewhere along there, and then somehow sleeve that, I think. Clear from everything. Might need to cut a little bit off the tailpipe, but then again, maybe not. Could always put a chrome tip on it, I'll see. But should fit okay. Right, here we go. It's time to ask it nicely to come off. So this is the piece I've just cut off the car, and this is the piece that's got to go onto the car. Luckily for me, the new piece will sleeve straight into the old piece, hopefully. So I'll just check if that's the case, and then I'll just cut 2 slits in the exhaust in there and clamp it on. Right, so here's the exhaust test fitted now. You can see it's sleeved inside the original. I've just got to put a clamp on that. It looks good. Okay, so that's on. All tightened up just to sort of leave it there. I know I've got to take it back off when I get the welding done, but I just wanted to make sure it was all okay. And obviously I'll put some sealant paste around that join when it's permanently on. The only part I haven't factored in, which has just filled me with dread, but we'll have to see when that happens, is will this actually miss the tank? Let's hope so, otherwise I might have to refettle that. And I've put the rust converter on. I didn't film myself doing that because that's really boring, and also my phone was nearly flat. So yeah, all the bare metal has had a bit of that on. Down there, the arches, etc, etc, and then just the part in the boot. I've still got to cut that out, but I just thought I'd put it on. And yeah, that's it really. That's pretty much it for today and for this week. Don't do weekends. I'm treating this as my job while I'm on furloughed or whatever they call it. So yeah, Monday to Friday working on the car, weekend housey stuff, etc, etc. So I'll see you on Monday night. Bye bye. Of course, vital part of any car restoration, and indeed running of the strange and obscure vehicles, is the fitment of one sticker. If you don't subscribe to his channel, you should. It's very good if you're interested in cars that are not boring and ordinary. And as an ode to the man himself,